Live.
Hello, we're live.
We're late, but we're live.
We are
Yeah.
late.
We've been
Today's been crazy. No, we haven't just been talking.
No, we've been getting stuff done. We've been getting lots of stuff
I know.
Yeah.
Meeting with people, talking, having conversations.
Strategizing.
Hello. Welcome to Parenting for Divine Destiny. Gosh, we are fresh back from Kenya. We didn't get it in last week because we were probably sleeping.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are. Swinging back into routine. Still a little jacked up on sleep for sure, but
been up since 2:45 this morning.
Yep. I woke up at 2:45. I did manage to go back to sleep, but it was that back to sleep and then you're really, because I was up for a couple hours. So anyway, we'll stop lamenting because we love missions and our goal is to inspire you to do missions. So we're not going to talk about
We had the best time.
We actually did. What was your favorite part?
Oh man, there were so many parts. I love the dancing. That was fun. That was a blast. Every single night we ended with dancing.
Yeah.
And they know how to dance.
Yeah.
And forever. In 90-degree weather.
Yeah. Let me just give you a little version of the white girl. They're like, I can't even say exactly what they did because it was so fabulous.
Yeah.
And of course so rhythmic and everything, and they're doing their dance and they're desperately trying
to get us to
include us. Well, you know what, I thought later though, after the fact, they weren't trying to get us to do it. They just wanted us to do
participate.
No, they wanted us to
dance.
Yeah, because I'm like, they got this fantastic shoulder thing they do, and I'm like, is this right? So she was
quite humorous.
Yeah.
I have these memories.
Okay, so I do put myself in I'm not gonna lie, when it's ridiculous and I have no hope of looking cool at it, then I'm just gonna go
have fun.
The complete opposite direction, and let me just tell you.
But it was really good to get our kids out there, outside their comfort zone. It's the best thing ever.
It was, because literally all of our kids, and kids that did not like to dance. In fact, we had one of our students tell us, we always ask what was life-changing, what was powerful for you. And he said, I put myself out there in ways that I was worried that I would look stupid, and realized I had such a fun time, and realized I need to come back and do the same thing. Good. Like it gave me courage. It gave me boldness. And, and I would say even for us, who cares? Like we had seriously such a good time. Every night was dancing. Every night was celebrating in Kenya.
They know how to celebrate.
Probably the most impactful though for me personally on the trip was, I remember sitting there and one of the teachers of the school. So Valor School has a one-to-one model for every student enrolled in our campus. We sponsor a student in a developing nation into education. So the location we went to was our student sponsors. There is actually an entire school campus that is fully funded in Kenya as a result of Valor, which is amazing. God's grace completely. But what was super powerful for me is because I've always thought of, education, and education's good. But having a teacher come to me and say, thank you for what you guys do, because what you do allows me to provide and feed for my family.
Right.
And it was just this moment of, here's the deal. Matt Ely, go back to work. Hi, Matt Ely. Why it was so powerful, though, is because, guys, when we say yes, when we put ourselves out there, when we're willing to just step in with bold faith, and first, and have our kids come with us on it, it changes you completely,
for sure.
But it also, the impact is so far reaching, and that was the thing that kept striking me in a very powerful way on this trip, more than any other trip, is how profound and far reaching the impact was on of this vision, you know. And it was so much more like, I think I have always just boxed it up of education's good, education's powerful, and I of course I believe that, but it actually was, we are communicating a firm belief in these children, in these staff members, in these, we are emboldening them and empowering them.
And what's awesome is the gratitude that they have. It's incredible. All of the high school kids, they wrote us these letters, and just the gratitude was incredible. And I was asking this one girl, Sharon, which I loved.
That girl, I called her.
Dance.
I literally called her teacher. She was a high school girl. Called her teacher the whole trip because she was so gracious and patient.
And I was asking her. So they start school at 6:30 in the morning. They get up at 4. Some of them have to walk a mile or two, an hour just to go to school. But they don't take it for granted. So they get up at 4:30. They go to school. They start classes at 6:30. They go to school till 9:30
at night.
PM. They go to school 6 or 7 days a week. They go half a day on Sunday because they go to church first. And I was asking her about that. I said, "Man, our kids, they're kind of wimpy compared to you guys."
No, we are fragile flowers in the United States for sure.
Because they were asking me, so when you guys start school, I'm like 8:15, and they kind of laugh because they've already been in class for a couple hours. But I asked her,
"Why are you wasting your day?"
Yeah, and I said, "So, is that hard? How does it make you feel?" And she was just like, "Oh no," she goes. And I've asked several of the kids. They said, "No, this is what makes us successful. Success does not come empty-handed. It comes with struggle and hard work, but it's good. And this is what we do." And they don't take it for granted. And I was blown away at their attitude, their mental toughness, their gratitude,
their focus on future.
Yeah, and they all want to be doctors and lawyers and pilots. And
their focus on future was impressive. Their focus on here's where, like, we could actually spend this entire parent talk on that. What I wanted to talk about, though, is as we were coming back and believing so strongly that missions and service projects and positioning your kid in a place where they're adding value to the world, not simply being a taker and consumer of the world around them, is essential if you're working to raise kids that are transforming culture, that are leading culture, that are, and actually, more interesting than that, I would tell you this is absolutely necessary if you want happy kids.
Oh, for sure.
If you want happy kids, like I think a lot of us would say our goal is for our kids to be happy. You want happy kids, put them in situations like this.
Give them a purpose and fulfillment.
And like that's where
it ignites something inside.
Yeah. So what I remember though is, like, can you remember growing up? I bet this happened in your home because I think it was pretty common. I can remember growing up when I did not finish my food on my plate, and I heard there are starving children in China. You should finish your food on your plate. And of course, as a kid, and listen, I've always been that kid. I think what makes me qualified to share about parenting is because I was the strong-willed kid. And so I can remember having that conversation with my mom, with her saying, you need to finish that because there are starving children in, pick the country. And I can remember looking at her going, it's not like we're going to take this plate and send it to them and have it, and I think that was a pretty common strategy. And Mama, I love you. You instilled in me this great heart of giving.
Our parents all said that. That was just something.
Well, and the thing is it's really true.
It is.
But let me just say this: helping your child come to this space of wanting to be giving to others, of wanting to add value to others. The strategy that does not work is guilt and shame. Right. It is when the strategy that works, you guys, is giving them opportunities to step into this place. And I'm telling you, you do not have to go overseas. You don't have to take an expensive trip. There are opportunities
all around
literally
us.
Our kids weekly in our school actually are doing this. Our kids weekly are involved in food service programs and serving our community. Because what they find is when you add value, you are a valuable person to the society. You want your kid to feel significant. You want to feel significant at work. When you're simply a taker and consuming, that's where you don't find confidence. There's no confidence in that. Why? Because if I'm simply consuming and I need brand names and I need all my stuff to be important, there is always somebody going to beat you or your child on appearance, on stuff.
There's always somebody better. Somebody has more, and that can be where your identity is, because then you're lost.
Absolutely, significance and joy are found as we add value, and because we find ourselves to be a valuable person when we contribute to the world around us. So positioning your kid to be a contributor, not simply a consumer. But doing it in a way that is not shaming or guilt-based. You know, like I love scripture, and guys, scripture is chocked full of this principle. I could go and talk for hours on this alone. Before we started our school, that was one of the things I did, was go through scripture and say, what does God have to say about what we're talking about here? And scripture is, I mean, it says when you take care of the poor and needy, it's like giving a loan to God. Like, that's one of my favorites. A leader's longevity is wrapped up in their providing justice for the poor. I mean, I could literally go on and on and on and on about this one topic, but the truth is it does almost more for us. It really does. And I felt like that in Kenya.
I did too.
That the way we grew, the joy that we were brought, hopefully we added value and contributed to our kids. Listen, I promise you, we gave them an awesome laugh. Like,
we did.
We gave them some, because you have not seen
we brought you
funny until you see the white old ladies like
trying to dance.
And I now walk into our school office and
just,
try to get an African dance going.
But so good.
Yeah. What do you have to say about that? What do you want to contribute to that with your 2:45 a.m. brain?
Yes. Well, no, I loved how we met with them, and we had this kind of a carnival thing. We had different spots where we would either play a game here, we'd build remote cars, and what was really fun is watching these kids. My husband was working with these girls, and they had all the directions, and it was this solar powered little car, and they were like, oh man, this is so awesome, we're learning engineering skills. And it kind of surprised them that they were able to do this. And it was just fun because it's watching something new, and then their confidence that they had, and they were all just a joy to be around. They filled me up just being around them.
Well, and so, it's really interesting because one of the places we work with and serve is Ushindi Children's Home. And so we had the opportunity to take a tour of the children's home, and Jane and Justice are doing just a tremendous job. Like, literally every dime being donated or given into their ministry has huge impact. But what's really interesting, because when we went through the children's home, right, there's 100.
I think in the girls there's like 56 beds and 60 in the boys, something like that.
But they literally have very
Nothing.
like it's bed and have very little.
Mhm.
And
the
it's
kitchen is
easy. So
we don't have a real kitchen.
what I did want to talk about though is it's really easy to come back from a trip like this.
Mhm.
And this happened to me my very first
trip,
mission trip, where to extreme poverty, where I was disgusted and overwhelmed with my lifestyle.
Right.
And the amount of guilt and shame that
Mhm.
I've felt over my lifestyle. I've since come to, because I have so much,
Right.
when there's and
People have
it's
nothing.
never enough,
Right.
where there's people like 98% of the world
Live in
has
poverty.
so much less than what we have. And I can remember I could hardly function when I came back from my very first mission trip over
Mhm.
it, because I didn't know how to reconcile justice for how do I live going forward,
Our
right?
house is
What
twice as big as it needs to be.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Why do we have 4 cars?
Yeah,
Or why
and-
do we? It's
and
yeah.
but what I've come to since then, you know, and now I don't know how many years I've been at this, but
Mhm.
now what I've come to is, number one, I have been, as honestly anybody that is a part of particularly United States, but
Mhm.
all kinds of countries have been just abundantly blessed with
Blessed, yeah.
resources.
Yep.
And what I've come to is God blessed us
Right.
with those resources to be,
Mhm.
one, grateful for those,
Yep.
which is why service, learning, missions,
It's
all of those
huge.
are critical, because if your child doesn't know that they're blessed, if they don't understand and have that perspective, they're not grateful.
Right.
But our blessing was meant to flow through us. It was never meant to stop with us, to hoard for us. It was meant to flow through us. And guilt and shame do not serve you or serve it. There's no value. And it certainly is not from God.
Right.
Guilt and shame are not byproducts that are godly characteristics or byproducts.
Well, and God says when you're giving and you're tithing and you're giving your first fruits, He says it's going to be pressed down, shaken together, overflowing. True. Your storehouses are going to be overflowing. So yes, if you're faithful in that, you're going to have more than enough, more than you need. And it is just a result of being obedient to God, but it's God's blessing. And we are blessed so that we can be a blessing, but it never stops. You're continually reaping what you're sowing.
Yeah. And that's, and thank you, because that was, your kids reap what they sow.
Yeah.
If they reap a heart of generosity, they attract it back to them. They attract it. That's why you want to teach. That's not the only reason, obviously. But that is a byproduct of when you are a generous, abundant thinking person. Yeah. That is what comes back to you. The reaping and sowing process, the sowing and reaping process there are countless examples of it. And what I find particularly interesting is, like, literally every religion has this concept built into it. Yep. We all call it different things, but it's an absolute truth that it does happen. Those things, those seeds that you're planting into the ground, you will reap. So if you are planting in your children's lives seeds that help them look at how do I add value, they will reap that back in their on their journey.
You can't outgive God. And you know, like Jesus says, just give a cup of water and you're giving it in my name. It's like
so our push on missions, and I just felt like this was really important too, because I know when you come off the trip, I'm always a little put back going, it's a great mental check it's always a check to go, we do not need that. Like, that is not something that is adding value to our world. It's adding clutter to my world. But guilt is not the motivation here. In speaking this, guilting or convincing somebody that, you know, out of shame, it is the motivation is absolutely because when you do this, your children live an abundant, prosperous, joyful life. Those are the keys. And outside of that,
and you're setting your kids up for success. When you teach them those principles and values, you are setting your kids up for success.
Yeah, and it's something that we have talked about like literally every episode. You can't just say it.
Right. You have to
you have to give them opportunity to experience it, to encounter it, and to encounter it often. We like the phrase that missions is not a trip we take, but a lifestyle we live. Right. And that should be true. Hopefully that's true in our personal homes. Is we've cultivated
even if it's
a
having your kids
giving.
Watch you go through a drive-through and pay for the person behind you.
Great
Or go to your neighbor next door and like, hey, an elderly person,
how do we serve you?
Can I help you with your yard? It doesn't have to be this massive, just the little things of doing something for someone else.
Well, and it absolutely should be something that is a regular part of your life.
Yeah.
Yes, the travel is amazing, and I could not, encourage parents strong enough to reality is where do your kids have the opportunity to give? Where do your kids have the opportunity to be blessings and serve?
Yeah.
And as you do that, joy will be found and a prosperous future will be found. It's absolutely key.
Yep.
Anything else? Do you want to dance us out of here?
Well, I could. You got the right music. No,
I know.
I will not. I'm sorry.
I don't even remember it now. I wish I remembered it. The singing, the dancing.
It was amazing. It was awesome. It was so fun.
Amazing. Hey, hello. Oh yeah, Jen Wood Patera. She went. Yes, she went on our trip with us.
So fun.
Yeah, super exciting, and it's really exciting. What I love is to see, first of all, to learn from other cultures because there's such beauty in other cultures, and then to see how we might connect together. So anyway, we are hard at work getting ready for the Valor Gala. So if you're in the area, our gala is April 13th.
Please come. We would love for you to
6
come.
p.m.
Yep. Merriweather.
We'll have a lot of videos from our trip as well as the other trips because we literally had kids all over the world.
Yeah, it was awesome.
For Missions Week, and so we'll have videos and testimonials on. That's a good night to get a picture.
You don't want to miss it, I promise.
So if you want to attend that, there's a website for it. I'm going to put it in the links when we're done. I'll put it in the comments at the end. In fact, Jen, if you're still watching, you can put the website for the gala in the comment section for me, but otherwise I will if she's not. So anyway, with that said, if you liked our content, share it with your friends. Our little community is growing and it's exciting. We're here not to build names for ourselves, but to add value. We know parenting is hard, and a community that is determined to help our kids navigate a really tough world. That's our goal. So thanks for helping us. Thanks for sharing, and blessings to you. Have a
great
fabulous day. Dance us out of here.